This disease is known as the silent thief, as an individual's bone mass slowly begins to decrease over time with no obvious warning signs, until the bones become much more weak and brittle. Over time, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 5 men will experience a bone fracture due to this disease in their lifetime. What is this dangerous condition and why is it so prevalent? Today, we're talking about osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is a common condition impacting millions of men and women around the world. It's a condition that weakens the bones of the body and results in an increased risk of bone fracture, change in posture, and possible decrease in height. But many people don't know that they have osteoporosis until it results in a fracture due to the lack of symptoms, giving it the name the silent thief. So what causes osteoporosis? First, we need to understand the composition of the bones and how they're formed. Bone is made out of a spongy material on the inside, known as trabecula, surrounded by a more solid outer layer known as compact bone. This acts as an outer, more rigid shell on the outside of the bone. The bone itself is constantly built and rebuilt in a process known as bone remodeling. Cells within the bone, known as osteoclasts, destroy parts of the bone to release calcium, while the opposite kind of cell, osteoblasts, work to rebuild these parts of the bone. This system works to maintain the proper balance of calcium in storage and in the blood while also fortifying bones and maintaining their strength. Since this acts to maintain homeostasis between calcium in the blood and what is stored in the bones, this process is highly related to the amount of calcium and vitamin D available within the body. A combination of both these vitamins and minerals are necessary for healthy bone composition, and deficiency in either can be the direct cause for osteoporosis. Calcium is incredibly important in the body. It allows our muscles to move and allows nerves and cells to function properly. Our bodies don't produce calcium, however, so we must obtain it from our diet. It is absorbed to the small intestine with some help from vitamin D that allows for maximum absorption. The main storage center for calcium is in the bones, where it resides after it is taken from the blood, following absorption in the gut. Osteoblasts deposit this calcium as they work to build bone tissue. By the reverse process, osteoclasts release calcium stored in bone as they degrade bone tissue.
You may be wondering, how does this correlate to the disease exactly? With osteoporosis, these holes in the trabeculae that give it the spongy appearance become larger and increase in number, which decreases the solid, rigid structure of the bones that the trabeculae structures typically provide in healthy bones. Reduced calcium supplies have been found to be directly linked to low bone density and osteoporosis. Additionally, chronic deficiency of vitamin D has been linked to osteomalacia, which is another bone disease resulting in decreased mineralization of bone, essentially making your bones soft. With larger holes in the trabeculae caused by lack of calcium or lack of calcium absorption, this leads to weaker bones, an increased chance for fractures and damage. There are a few populations that are at particular risk for developing osteoporosis. Both age and sex play a large role in the risk factors for this disease. As you age, your bone's percentage of calcium decreases, with overall bone mass and density decreasing. Particularly, postmenopausal females are at risk due to the decreased production of estrogen, which plays an important role in the growth and maturation of bone. Females in general also have smaller and lighter bones, which puts them at a greater risk for osteoporosis. Diet and lifestyle are also important considerations when trying to prevent osteoporosis. Not consuming enough calcium in your diet, living a sedentary lifestyle, consuming alcohol, or using tobacco all increase your risk. Other factors like family history and medical conditions that impact hormone levels, such as thyroid or adrenal gland disorders, can increase your risk for osteoporosis as well.
Osteoporosis is diagnosed via tests for bone mineral density, or BMD, and dual energy X-ray absorptiometry, DEXA or DXA scans, which are essentially very sensitive X-rays that measure how dense the bones are. BMD tests are performed on women over the age of 65 and men over the age of 70. But those with additional risk factors can be screened with these tests earlier to catch the disease as early as possible. Once osteoporosis has been diagnosed, there are a few treatment options to help reverse and treat the disease. Exercise, supplements, and medications can all be recommended or prescribed in the treatment of osteoporosis. Increasing vitamin D and calcium supplementation helps if the individual is deficient in these vitamins and minerals. In more established cases of osteoporosis, medications may be prescribed to help. Hormone and hormone-related therapies may be prescribed in those with low levels of estrogen or testosterone to treat osteoporosis, as these are both involved in regulating bone management in men and women. Anabolic agents can also be used, as they are synthetic versions of testosterone that act to increase the building of bone. Bisphosphonates can be prescribed as anti-reabsorptive drugs. This basically means it prevents the osteoclasts from breaking down the bone to release the calcium into the blood, and thus prevents bone breakdown. Prevention of osteoporosis is mostly achieved by a proper diet and an intake of calcium and vitamin D by exposure to the sun. These can both be orally supplemented to ensure proper levels. Recommended levels range from 1,000 to 1,300 milligrams daily for most individuals, and vitamin D is recommended to be around 100 IUs daily for the average person. Implementing a regular exercise routine is also essential for promoting healthy bones and reducing bone loss. Working to use your muscles in exercises like walking, jogging, and weightlifting are best for this purpose. In conclusion, what did you learn? Today you learned about osteoporosis, the silent thief. We discussed the ways that osteoporosis develops and how the bones are built and remodeled constantly throughout the body. We also learned about risk factors and diagnoses of the disease. We also discussed how osteoporosis is treated in patients that receive a diagnosis and how an individual can take action to prevent the disease from developing.